bigger is very that way. Hey, here we are at your first lesson, going over first lesson-y stuff. Pick, using a pick. When you do play rhythm guitar, I want you to learn how to use a pick. And like we talked about during the lesson, it was, the way the guitar looks going like that, it sounds not so great, so we compensate by doing that when in reality, wider range of motion ends up having that crisper sound of a pick and more decisive and more options, but then not how that sounds. So, first of all, just like sit on one chord. Like we have, on the back of your Scarborough Fair, we wrote like rhythms 1, 2, and 3. The first one is just deliberately the easiest thing ever. Pick chords that you hit all 6 strings on, G or E minor or whatever. So just, and this is really for you to just examine strumming down and up. If you're trying to go this, that in any tempo, but when you're initially going over this, the dance steps, dancing analogy. Really just painstakingly conscious focus, just being like, I am learning how to do this technique thing. It's not the fun part. It doesn't sound like music, but that's what I'm doing. Please stop and just get comfortable with that. Having done that, rhythm 2 is going to go down, 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 up, down, up. So there we are. That's what we're going to end up having. Visually I'm up here, I'm down there, and try not based on what I saw you do today, or to do today, if those were words. A lot of people will kind of be like, okay, here I go, pause there, line it up. So you can kind of, there's a wind up or whatever works for you, but you get the concept. And then our Scarborough Fair rhythm is down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. And that's really why we went over this doing really simple stuff, is so you can try to actually play Scarborough Fair with a pick, on. Cool. So there you go. Wider range of motion, banging away, doing the boring stuff so that you can play Scarborough Fair. Yes, it's more comfortable to use your hands. We're trying this other thing, but having seen you play a little bit, you already play a little bit, and I think fingerstyle, flamenco, etc. is going to be more where we'll be directing the lessons, because that's going to be cooler. But hey, there's how you use the pick. Yep. And rhythm guitar will come up again. Cool. So Jewel Song is great for working on what we need to for exactly you, which is this index rest of hand juxtaposition, which is as straightforward for today as we put these 3 fingers on these 3 strings and thumb has the 3 bass notes. That's the most common picking position by far. Sometimes we'll be in any of them, if I was like just playing on those strings, but most of the time, like in alternate bassing songs, we're in this position so that we can full on thumb everywhere. And that's what we're working on here, alternate bass. But first and foremost, your Jewel Song, however it went. However it went again. So yeah, and really just being mindful of your technique. Try not to play the song. What I mean is, when you're initially going over it, just do it like it's a list. Really think about technique, really think about your right hand, and try to wrestle yourself back into doing it in a familiar context. That's why we're doing this. But really, just so that you've played in that position, so that we can work on the new thing. It'll be more difficult always to wrestle yourself from a song you've already played with a slightly different technique. That you may always play the Jewel Song the way you initially did until like 2 years from now. You'll come back and pick it up having not played it and just naturally play it the correct way, because that's ingrained now. But hey, that's why we're doing it, is to try to force the issue and get you playing in this position. And the thumb index juxtaposition is most forced when you're playing a 4th string bass note with a 3rd string high note. Cool. Jewel Song. Stop. Work on it. Get at it. Do not play the whole song. Just focus on little bits and then play the whole song. Cool. And then, not Scarborough Fair, but the main text that we worked on today was this alternate bass. A minor, C, E minor thing. So I've circled the bass notes on our A minor chord and our C chord. There is a C/G that falls on music like in a lot of it.
That's the one I've always
Yeah, totally. So it's fairly uncommon though. It's a way to play on 6 strings or to finger pick across all of them. But wait, while we're at it, chord book C, we started with A minor. It's not even like F. F we do a bunch of ways depending, but this really is C. One thing you can do if you're strumming is you can make contact with the 6th string, so then you get click. Now you can still use your full range of motion. But hey, here's what we're actually doing. We're playing A minor. Just keep reminding yourself about right hand juxtaposition. I'm starting you with the weakest finger of your thumb, and I'd like you to just do that, trying to keep these 2 fingers ready to strike. Like we're not even playing a song, we're just going, my goal is to move this part of my hand, economical movements. That's what we're achieving by being in this position. Cool. So, stop and do that. So I'm just trying to keep these fingers ready. Next 2 beats, everyone. So it's like 1, 2, and then I'm going, those 2 notes, 4th string, 3rd string. Here, stop, get good at that. Now, without playing that first, let's work on the second half. So, stop, get good at that. Now, I want you to be really good at going end before you try to go. Again, it's just order of operations. I have learned this, and I'm trying the whole thing. I'm memorizing it, I'm playing it. Cool, so we need to emphasize those things as we go, because it will be implied throughout. So there's your A minor thing. Now, it'd be great if you just got to where you could just kill that before you even tried the rest of it, or within reason can play it without it feeling like mechanical, or you're about to make a mistake every 3rd attempt. Great. So then similar concepts in our C chord. We're going. And so we've got all individual notes in this one. Second half, on purpose, is all thumb and index. Getting good at that part. So, there's our C. Here's everything there. Excuse me. Cool. So we'll get really good at that. And then without doing those 2 chords first, here's our E section, where we started out with thumb, and now we're going to be playing 6th string, 4th string, so we're going to just do that 2-3 times, get a feel for it. Good technique, good position. So we're starting with these. So that was 1, 2, 3, and 4, and forcing the issue with this finger right there. So there, I accidentally put my finger back on the string, and it deadened them. It's a delicate balance between actually touching the strings again and not losing track of where they are. What we're going for is, nice long tones that are like legato without flailing around too much. So there's the first half. The second half of our E minor was. That's our first actual you have to pinch right at the same time. So those 2 together. Suggested practice tempo for all of this when you're in your boring stage is when you start to include rhythm. So there we go. You've been Guitar Lesson.